Klein Dental Arts SEC Notebook featuring former UT coach Ray Trail, me, Donnie Moore, and Marcus Fitzsimmons. And we are also joined today by our great friend, Tony Irule.
Man, it's great to be here.
Hey, welcome back.
And just the chance and the opportunity to hang out with you guys and learn a lot of insight from Ray Trail. What can be better than this? I just don't know.
It's a good day already.
It's good. It's
Donnie,
good.
do you want to switch seats? I don't know if I want to sit between these two.
Hey, you look like you're stuck.
If it breaks out into a fight, it breaks out into a fight. You're going to be the guy who has to pacify the situation.
Just stuck.
Well, Tony Irule's back from a long, hard recruiting trip for Carson Newman, and I'm sure you're racking up some airline miles and some gasoline miles, some hotel points, all that stuff.
It's forget the airline miles. More
gas points. We're racking up gas points.
More. I'm in my used Pinto driving to Alabama and Virginia, and so it's good to finally get off the road. May is a big time for colleges to go out on the road and look at the upcoming potential recruits, seniors, and all that. So our staff's been all around, and so we're glad to get back home and relax a little bit.
Well, that's excellent. But we're not talking about football right now.
That's
okay?
right.
Football has to wait a few months. It gets its time in the sun all the time. We're going to talk about baseball and softball right now, and we'll start with the baseball Vols. Well, they took a day trip to Hoover, Alabama, Ray.
Right.
Where they
went straight from South Carolina, didn't they?
It's possible. I don't know what they did. I don't have their.
I think
tribal
they went straight
itinerary.
from Columbia.
That would probably make a lot more sense.
Straight down to Hoover.
Okay, so they took a day trip from Columbia, South Carolina to Hoover, Alabama. They left their bats in Columbia, South Carolina, it would appear, as they were one hit by Texas A&M in the opening round of the SEC tournament. And then they packed the bus up and went back home after just a few short hours.
Yeah, they said it was going to be a short trip.
Much different than last year's trip where they stayed the entire trip and won the whole SEC tournament. But again, Vols one hit by A&M. And Marcus, not Tennessee's best offensive performance this year.
No, it was their rain performance, and we've seen it from them multiple times this year in bad weather. I don't know what it is about this team, but if the sun's not shining, they do not shine. We saw it at Columbia. We saw it in the games they dropped against Kentucky and South Carolina. Their offense disappears when it gets cloudy outside. And I don't know, that batting should have nothing to do with the weather, but it seems like it has for Tennessee. I mean, maybe they're cursed with gusts blowing in at all the wrong times, which is what seemed like happened at Hoover. They had 3 or 4 hits that
hit pretty well.
That Lindsey Nelson were home runs, but they were not going to get out at Hoover, and they hit them right at the outfielders.
Maybe, Tony, you played baseball. Maybe they need to get stickier gloves. When it's rain, maybe you don't feel very comfortable with the bat in your hand. Maybe you need to get stickier gloves.
Well, Carol and I was watching one of the games last night, and these batters now, they have the regular batting gloves. Mm-hmm. Then they have their on-base gloves.
Yes.
And
so you don't jam your finger on the base.
Yeah. I mean, good gracious. I mean,
if they hit the ball, then you have to call timeout to get all the crap off of them.
Yeah, all the stick-ups and all that.
I mean, they take their gloves off,
Ray,
the deals on their legs. And
it's a lot different. It's a lot different now than when you and Tony Irule played baseball. No offense to you guys, but back in those days, people were throwing 75, 80 miles an hour. Kids are throwing 100 now. I don't want to get hit by a 100-mile-per-hour fastball. I'm going to wear some stuff that protects me in the case.
You have to learn
that micron layer of film is going to help your hand so much.
You don't get hit by it because you hit like this and you go, oh, God.
What did they do before replay with baseball? Because did you see them last night?
The slide in second base?
With the Vanderbilt game, they called a hit by pitch, not hit by pitch. Alabama appealed, and they went to the replay, and they were slowing it down to see the ripple in the top of his glove that it hit like a strap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they said strap didn't count, and he was still had to finish the
before
at-bat.
Replay. Something like that would happen, and fans would just throw unbunned wieners at the umpire. They'd just throw hot dogs at him from the stands.
Wouldn't they throw the buns and keep the hot dogs?
Yeah. But now they can't throw anything because it's some guy, up in the booth making the decision. And
hot dog's got a little bit more weight to it. You can really get some distance.
And he's obviously never soaked.
Yep, and you can throw those wieners a long way.
Yeah.
Well, you take that hot dog button at most of these ballparks. They're already got enough grease in them. You can just make a nice little baseball right out of it.
Yeah.
Or you could Joey Chestnut it, dip it in the water.
Yeah.
Scrunch it up.
Scrunch it up, shove it in your mouth. Put at least 4 to 8 of them in your mouth every time.
Is that later today or is that July 4th?
July 4th. It's not today.
Oh, okay.
It's not
Our
today.
bad.
No.
We're way ahead of the
Yeah,
holiday.
we're a little bit ahead
I
of
thought we were
schedule.
going to the cafeteria deal there for a minute. Were y'all talking about baseball or
Yeah.
what?
I mean, kind of the same thing.
Yeah, we got diverted here a
it
little bit.
takes a
Baseball,
while.
hot dogs, they're in the same ballpark. Ray, come on, you know this.
Well,
Troy's
well, I think
Troy's a
that- I think-
baseball guy at heart, so
I am.
Oh.
they wander through anything because there's so much dead time.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've gotta
I will be
fill.
at the Smokies tonight. It's Margaritaville night. Well, I'm going to give a little shout out to one of our sponsors. It's Margaritaville night at the Smokies. I'll be there tonight. We got some $2 Coronas. I'll be eating a few hot dogs, and
Yeah.
hopefully I don't do anything too stupid.
They got fireworks there afterwards.
They do have fireworks afterwards. It's
Excellent.
going to be
Got
it's the
post-game-
Paradise Party is what they're calling it.
Very-
Post-game concert again, I think.
Yeah, another post-game concert.
Nothing better than watching baseball with
get-
margaritas.
I get to visit Brian Johnson and get my free snow cone that I get every time I go because he takes care of me. So I'm excited about that.
You're-
So Smokies tonight.
It's not what you
Margaritaville
know,
night.
it's who you know.
Right. I might buy like a nice little beach, like a Hawaiian T-shirt. Maybe they're selling those at the Goatee store in there, and so we'll see. But it's going to be a fun night.
Yeah,
Well,
it looks
they-
like you're all set.
Hey,
Yeah, I mean,
Ray,
you're ready to
anytime there's
go.
$2 Coronas, I don't need much more convincing other than that. I promise you that. But
Oh, and we used to be a family-friendly show. You know that?
Yeah, we've kind of we've lost that years ago. That's why I keep coming back.
well, so Tennessee lost to A&M. A&M is still in contention to win this SEC tournament. And I always say, if you're going to lose to the team that wins it all.
Yeah, that's right. It makes you look better.
Makes you look a little bit better. So I
Yeah.
think A&M gets Vanderbilt tonight. Is that correct? Let me check
Yes,
it
they
up.
play Vanderbilt for the rights to.
To play for the championship
And Florida
tonight.
So it gets
playing-
Florida.
Florida's playing in the other bracket.
Yeah, Florida has. Hold on, let's update the people.
Florida has Arkansas, I believe. in the winners
A&M
bracket.
plays Arkansas. Florida plays Vandy.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so that is your SEC tournament semifinals, and we'll see how it goes. And so if you're a Tennessee fan, go ahead and root for the Aggies, and that way you feel a little bit better about yourself. And you,
true.
can,
Is this
and
the-
you can say, oh, we got eliminated by the SEC champion.
Is this
Yeah,
the
yeah.
reset round where, like, this is true semifinals, and they're going to do like a 4-team double elimination from this point? Is that right?
Oh, I don't remember. Yeah, I was there last year and did all this, and my brain doesn't work anymore, so I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But at the same time, Tennessee fans don't be discouraged because was it Ole Miss?
Ole Miss.
They lost the first game.
They lost the
last
first game last year. They were the last team in the NCAA tournament, so much different than what Tennessee will be. Tennessee is comfortably in, but
Right. But Ole Miss ends up winning the
won
whole
the whole
thing.
national
Yeah.
title.
But I
yeah.
don't think. I mean, this year I don't think the SEC has a bubble team for as far as getting in or out.
No, it's the 10 teams
I know
that
there
are
was.
in or the
I
10
mean, there were
teams that
teams
are in.
yesterday that were really nervous with East Carolina having to rally and do a walk-off to win
Mm-hmm.
the conference tournament because that was USF got in and they was going to take somebody's spot away
Right.
because Carolina was going to be in. But looking at the SEC, I mean, I think you got 8 teams in and there's no bubble.
10 teams in from the projections from Baseball America and D1 right now, and I think if I'm not mistaken, A&M is the last of those teams, and obviously with what they've done this week,
Well, yeah, those were projections
in.
before this tournament started.
no, that's
so-
from today.
Was it
That's from
today?
today. Yeah, I checked the projections this morning. So
See, I would have thought they had moved up to a solid 3 by now.
yeah, they're a solid 3 now, is what I'm saying. But they're the last. They're perceived to be the last SEC team to get in, and obviously they've really helped their case this past week. So, so now the Vols await their destination for next weekend's NCAA regionals. The selection show is Monday. The options appear, and remember, for people who are NCAA regional baseball illiterate, Tennessee cannot go play in a regional that includes another SEC baseball team. So we're talking about host teams like Florida, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, South Carolina. Tennessee cannot play in those. You cannot play in the same regional as a team from your own conference. So that kind of leaves the options up to Clemson, Miami, Virginia, Coastal Carolina, and Indiana State in the bustling town of Terre Haute, Indiana.
moon.
Terre Haute.
Might have to
Haute?
go to the moon.
Terre Haute.
Say it right.
Boy,
Terre Haute.
Terre Haute. That's right.
Okay. It looks like they have a nice Outback Steakhouse there. I'm going to the
Home
region-
of Larry Bird.
Yeah, I'll be at the regional next weekend, so I've been doing some research on where I could potentially be going. Terre Haute is by far the cheapest option.
Yes, it is.
By far the cheapest option for my wallet.
I'd say so.
But yes, those are the options. Anybody have any idea where Tennessee wants to play and where they don't want to play.
Well, if I was Tennessee, I wouldn't want to play anywhere right now to get going. I mean, they got to decide whether they're going to play or not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so obvious that there was no excitement in that dugout the other day in watching them lose, but nobody was doing anything. You know, I mean, there was nobody over there trying to get them cranked up or not. And the coach just stands there with his arms crossed, and you know, people just go over here and go out there and come back, and I just don't see any excitement in the team. You know what I mean? There's no leadership there from somewhere. Somebody has to be a leader in the outfit and try to get people going.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they just said it's like. I almost thought that they said, well, we're in the tournament.
Right.
Regardless of what happens.
Yeah, regardless. And matter of fact, we might just go out there and get beat, give us more time to rest.
Yeah.
And
You know, I mean, something was wrong. I don't know what it was.
Well, I don't think, like I said, weather was one thing because we've got a pattern. But going through what Tennessee did against A&M the first time in the series that played against them, they were not prepared for that. That pitcher's good, but they were not prepared for him to come out and throw 8 great innings against them. I mean, he just baffled them. That was not the kind of performance he put up against them back in March.
yeah.
Well,
And I don't think they were ready for.
You can't go by what happened in March, in May.
Well, I mean, pitchers changed some, but they're not. That was a fairly dramatic change in performance from what you saw from him 7 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago. I mean, Tennessee didn't have a lot of trouble with him before, but he had them baffled on Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm not aware. How did Tennessee do with their series against South Carolina leading into the?
They went 2-3.
They won 2 out of 3.
That was their first road series win of the year.
Okay, so I mean,
So I think that is the baffling thing about it. Like, you finally win a road series against a top 10 team.
Sure.
It kind of feels like, okay, we can now say we've turned this thing around and like we're playing good.
and especially the way they played the last third of the season,
Right.
like that.
And you get an opportunity to go to Hoover, and whether it be lack of energy, lack of effort, like Ray mentioned, you win that game, and all of a sudden now you are in a real contention to say you are hosting a regional this week. And I mean, they lay an egg, and I think that's the most disappointing part of it, is the fact that you still had something to play for. I could imagine, I could understand maybe just saying, hey, we don't want to go through this whole grueling process of trying to win an SEC championship. Let's take our one loss, let's go home, and let's gear up for the regional. If you don't have anything to play for, but you had a chance to play for playing at home one last time, and in a ballpark that you've shown the last 3-4 years, when you play in your ballpark, you're one of the hardest teams to beat in the country. And I think to miss that opportunity is one that I think we might look back on, because it's not like Tennessee pitched bad. Again, that A&M game pitched really well. I mean, you only give up 3 runs to an SEC team. Any SEC team, you count that as a victory.
They just didn't hit.
But I think you might look at that, whether it be after this upcoming weekend and they get eliminated from the regional, or should they get past the regional and lose to a super regional. I think you look at that and say you missed an opportunity to maybe help yourself in the postseason more than you did by not going out there.
So a man can change his stars.
Yeah, I can change my stars a little bit. Yeah, I just feel like if they win that game and they host a regional, I don't want to say you're a lock to advance to a super regional. Once you get to that stage, like we learned last year, anything can happen. But if you're Tennessee, you just feel so much more comfortable playing that regional at home, considering that they're 120 and 20-something at home the last 3 years. Like that's where you want to be, and you had an opportunity to do that, and to miss it. Now you have to go on the road in a place where, we've talked about it. They haven't played exceptional on the road. That South Carolina series is big, and maybe that changes some things. But you're asking to do a lot. And to be honest, like the question I started asking this is, if they don't end up at Indiana State or Coastal Carolina, because Coastal Carolina has a very similar ballpark to Lindsey Nelson Stadium, and on the beach you're going to get a lot of breeze that'll blow some balls out and probably help them a bit. But if you don't get one of those 2 regional spots, Clemson's the hottest team in the country right now. You get to Clemson, you're going home.
Yeah.
Miami, I mean, that's a traditional rich baseball program. They know what they're doing. They've been to that show a billion times. That to me sounds like a toss-up. And Virginia's a really, really good baseball team. They've been a top 10 baseball team basically all year. If you end up at any of those 3 regionals and you had an opportunity to host one of your own and avoid any of those, you look really silly.
I think Virginia's the worst on the list
Yes,
from
I agree.
Tennessee's perspective, but I think it's also the one most likely to happen
Mm-hmm.
because of geography and proximity. But I think what matters is how Tennessee comes. They're going to get rested. They're going to get that break. They've got the 10 or 11 day window, which can help pitchers a lot. It's a matter of the mindset they bring out of it. If they come out of it and say, this is a break for us, we're going to take advantage of what we got, this isn't what we wanted, but we're going to take advantage of the rest and we're going to be supercharged when regionals start, that's what you want. But if they're like, man, we couldn't even win the first game of the SEC tournament, something's not right, then it's going to be a real short postseason trip.
Yeah.
At the same time, let me say this. Baseball's a funny game, though.
Yes, it is.
I mean, you can be a hot team, then all of a sudden you go in a game, all of a sudden you go up there to hit, and every ball's a line drive to another, to the team you're playing. I mean, it's hard to judge a team by one game, especially since they were coming from that good series against South Carolina.
Yep.
So I like to think that, that they didn't play well. That's the nature of the game. Go home, rest up, and get ready to get after some people.
And it's just an important week from the SEC, and I don't want to sit here and talk about rumors, but there are some things swirling that some guys are geared up, ready to leave, and after this season and all that stuff. This week's important to kind of corral all the sheep and figure out, okay, let's make these next 2-3 weeks the best possible weeks we can make them, and then everybody after that can do whatever they want to do. But we got 2 weeks left in this season. If we really want to make a run, let's go do it and let's figure it out.
Well, they got to change.
Got to change a lot.
Got to change a lot, and I don't know. All year long, if they've been up or down. I mean, there's no in between. They either play good or the pitcher's terrible.
Yep.
Something is not right, and even in the dugouts when they come off the field, you don't see the camaraderie that you see some of these other teams.
Yeah.
And it's like we're in here together. Where they come off the field, they just kind of go over and sit down in the dugout. It's dead.
Yeah.
And you got to have some enthusiasm. I don't care what game you're playing. You got to have some enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Don't even tell you that right there in football or whatever. No enthusiasm. It's not like it's supposed to be.
And I know that there's a good chance Charlie Palaio's listening from Atlanta, and so I have to bring it up. Like, as much as all the conversations about Drew Gilbert and Jordan Beck's antics a year ago were always discussed, that's what they provided. They gave Tennessee's dugout life that it parlayed into success at all times last season, up into that Notre Dame Super Regional. They don't have that guy this year. They just don't have a Drew Gilbert who can turn a 4-pitch walk into it feels like he hit a grand slam. They just don't have that guy.
But that is not an excuse.
It's not.
I mean, I'll take three doubles or whatever.
Right.
But we got to get something going within the team.
Yep.
I mean, it's not a stand there and wait for somebody else to do it.
People graduate in sports all the time, in college sports. Somebody's got to step into that role.
But if you played with that guy, you know what he did for this team, and you try to mock that.
Yep.
You try to be like he was, and I got disgusted watching the game the other day because there was no enthusiasm like we need to win this game or nothing. Right. And the coach just stands over there with his arms crossed. I don't ever see him have like some of these other teams, they have a huddle every now and then, and you can tell the coach is pretty well kicking butt. And, let's go. Let's get going here. But we don't have that. He stands over there with his arms crossed. they come by him. He don't pat them on the back. He don't do anything. He just stands there, and you know, in any sport, you got to have somebody with some rah-rah to them.
Yep.
You know, that's you know that, Tony.
Sure,
in
sure.
your football coaching, you got to get over there and get them going. You know.
Well, like I said, I mean, it's just baseball is such a up and down type of season. I mean, the last third of the season, the way Tennessee's been playing, I mean, they weren't winning; they were just wiping out teams.
Yep.
And they came off of a big series against South Carolina, drove straight from South Carolina to Birmingham to play, and and they weren't ready to play. And so hopefully these next 10 days they'll get their act back together. Hopefully the NCAA will get them in a good regional where they're maybe at Indiana State or Virginia. I mean, for them to be matched up in one of those regionals where it's against a Clemson and all that. I think NCAA wants Tennessee to be in that that next level of games. And so let's see what happens with those guys. But I agree, they better get jacked up because it's going home.
That's right.
I don't want to sound like Troy, but I think one of the positives from last season, and this team more than any other I've ever seen cannot wait to not have anybody talk about last season anymore.
Yeah.
But when you talk about that rah-rah and that what you saw with some of the antics, the thing about it was that was what we talked about. That was what the guys were asked about. They didn't have to think about baseball.
No.
It was the best distraction in the world because you had your offensive leaders, I don't know if you count that as leading, but taking all the pressure off and putting it on themselves. There's nobody to do that this year. And some of their offensive leaders weren't even on the team last year.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's transition to a sport that has a much better outlook right now, and that's softball. But once again, Tennessee learns its NCAA regional destination on Monday. It's NCAA selection show. Let's talk about the Lady Vols, and this one's a shot at Mike. He came in here last week and said, I don't know if the Lady Vols want to play Indiana. I don't know if the Lady Vols want to play Indiana. The Lady Vols spanked Indiana 9-1 and then 7-3 to win the Knoxville Regional. They advanced to the Super Regional, and they beat Texas 5-2 in Game 1 of that Super Regional last night.
That was a scary 5-2 win, by the way.
It was a scary 5-2 win, but one heck of a pitching performance from Ashley Rogers.
Yeah, she was. We watched it last night, and she was really dominant. And just, she's been with the Vols for what 4 years? 4 years now. Just that's one of those players that's going to be in a Hall of Fame one day for Tennessee, and a dominant pitcher. And I mean, and she seems to always rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
And she had her A performance out there last night.
Had a lot of those occasions last night. A lot of
Yeah.
those occasions last night where they needed her to pitch big to get out of some tough situations, and every time she did it for the most part, that to me goes down as one of the.
She wouldn't leave last night.
Yeah.
I mean, that looked very much to me like Coach Weekly wanted to pull her before the final inning, and she waved her off.
Yeah.
Tough.
And I think she threw over 120 pitches.
Even more remarkable considering her story and the injuries she's dealt with in her career to come back and do all that stuff last night and put you in a position where Tennessee will play today at 3 p.m. Their win will seal their first Women's College World Series appearance since 2015, which that stat alone baffles my mind. But winning Game 1 so important. Tennessee learned that last year in baseball.
82% of the time in the softball tournament, if you win the first game of the Super Regional Series, you go on.
Yeah. And what a hitting performance by what's her name, Zeta
Pooney.
Yeah, Pooney and all that. Oliver, I was watching the news last night. Out of her last 7 hits, 5 have been home runs, and
swing hard.
It swings hard, and every time she's hitting the ball, it's going over the fence, and came up with a big 3-run homer to put the balls on top. So
some slugging percentage.
Yeah, a big win for the Lady Vols last night. I'd imagine. Well, I don't know who's going to be pitching today. It'll either be the Bowling Green transfer, whose name I can't remember at the top of my head, or it'll be Carlin Pickens, the SEC Freshman of the Year. But either one, you feel pretty good about trying to lock this thing down today and get them to a World College.
The thing that's I'll toss that number out there, but the thing that kind of works scare you a little bit. Texas is a team that They lost the opener last year, and they came back and won and went on to the College World Series. So they've been in this hole before. So this is not by any means over. Tennessee has its hands full today.
Yeah, and I think the one benefit that Tennessee does have in these types of situations now, being up 1-0, is you do have 3 pitchers that you really trust that have been really dominant at times this year. And if you can do that, then you can kind of say, okay, maybe this one doesn't have her A stuff, but maybe we can switch it up and go to a different pitcher who's really good. I think they use that to their benefit, and obviously, you're playing at home. There's going to be a lot of supporters there. It's going to be a sold-out crowd, and they also have a really talented offense that it's probably going to score some runs.
They did, and they stuck with Ashley yesterday. But if you mix it up, if they decide that's the right route they want to go, Texas really plays situational softball. They like to sub in pinch runners. They like to put in pinch hitters. They like to try to work a matchup, and you could really frustrate any plan they have going into this by making a pitching switch, because they're not expecting that sort of thing.
Right. So.
Also, during the game, there was a big-time catch by the outfielder where they made a catch. She made the catch over her head that saved about a couple runs and all that. So that it was just a great game to watch and all that.
It's I covered softball for a long time. Watched softball for a long time. This is Cairns' most complete team in a very long time. Yeah, just defensively.
And if you want to watch
really
it, they've got the soccer stadium open. You can go over there and watch it for free next door. Was there any delay, Troy, between the yell at one stadium and the yell at the other because the jumbotron?
Maybe just a little bit, but that adds some reverberation. It makes it a little bit more of a unique environment.
Reverberation.
You like that?
That's a good,
using big
good
vocabulary.
word.
Mike doesn't use those vocabulary words.
Have you ever said
reverberation?
reverberation?
There's a reason we don't say big long words on the radio.
All right, well, it's time to turn the page. Next up is the local scoreboard and Mark It Down featuring Marcus Fitzsimmons. You're listening to the sports page. Now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Hit a grand slam with Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union to win big on savings. On first, member-managed funds account. On second, free spend account. On third, certificate accounts with competitive savings rates. Load your bases at tvacreditunion.com.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Must use e-statements for no fee option. Some restrictions may apply. Ask for details.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com. Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093. We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. The Bluetick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Bluetick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Bluetick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards. Well, not Mike Edwards. I have to remember that I can't read this script word
I
for
can't
word,
believe
guys.
you think you're Mike Edwards.
I think I'm better than Mike Edwards, but I mean,
I wouldn't go there, but
that's neither
you
here
can't
nor
seem
there.
to get your name right.
This is Troy Provo Heron, along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the local scoreboard, sponsored by Mandy B Street Realty, brought to you by the one and only Donnie Moore.
Well, thank you, my friend. We're coming down to the last of the local scores, and we'll give you what's left right here in state tournament action. The last couple of days, Class 2A state tournament action from Murfreesboro. Starting with softball, this is Thursday action. Alcoa finished up their season at 36-9.
Remarkable year.
They sure did. They had a terrific year. Their season was ended by Scotts Hill. When they beat Alcoa, their record, it was 23-11. Didn't have near the year that Alcoa did, but they advanced.
Well, Tony, I really was just talking about baseball and softball being a funny sport, and I think if you asked, basically anybody, they would say that Alcoa would probably be the favorite to repeat as state champions this spring fling. But
and they were.
Again, baseball and softball, weird things happen in those
right.
sports.
That's why they play the game.
That's why they play the game.
That's right, Ray. But they ended up, Scotts Hill defeated Alcoa 5-2 in the losers bracket elimination round. So Alcoa comes home without the title this year. But like Troy said, they had a phenomenal year.
You make the final 8. If you make the state tournament, if you make it to spring fling, you've accomplished something.
Most wins in program history, I believe. I think up until state, they had outscored their postseason opponents like 60-10 or something like that. Like just a really remarkable year.
Also in soccer, in the Class 1A state championship game, also in Murfreesboro, Alcoa at 12-8-1 versus Madison Academic Magnet School at 18-0-1. They ran up against a buzzsaw there and were defeated in extra time yesterday. So Alcoa picks up the silver.
Yep.
They had a great year too.
And in Andy's first year, that's a big thing to finish runner-up, and he's got a young team, so they'll be back next year.
They'll be back.
And, what a weird run for them. You get to Murfreesboro and you find out you're not going to get to play your quarterfinal because somebody self-reported a sectional violation.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then you've got a semifinal
that's strange.
Was interesting and caused some things. You get a day off. You get the weirdest state tournament route. You're staying the entire time to play 2 games.
Yep.
And many Blount County athletes participated. We just overran spring fling this year.
Yeah.
You look at the Blount County athletes that were in spring fling, and you can't count them all.
We said it last week. It's the best county for sports in the state. I don't care what anybody says. If somebody wants to argue with me, I don't want to hear what your argument is. It's not a good one.
I agree. Baylor Cup and John Macon fell in the finals to Collierville.
2-time defending state champion.
Yeah.
Collierville.
And pushed them to the limit.
They really did.
I was there yesterday.
Pushed them to 3 sets.
You could say that match could have been decided by 5 whole shots last night.
And it probably could.
Yeah.
And Cup and Macon finished at 60-1
this season.
On the season.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I'd take 60-1 any day.
I would too. I
think most people would put that on the trophy and be happy. So,
yeah, I guarantee you they would.
Yeah, no doubt. It was a fantastic year for Blount County athletes, and I'll take them. I'll take them in any situation.
I agree.
And what you've got to say, because we talk about it all the time, that if you get out of this district, and West
region.
Knoxville, West Knoxville and Blount County. If you can get out, you can play with anybody in the state in the postseason.
I agree.
Who ends up playing for the 4A, baseball championship yesterday?
Farragut and Hardin Valley.
That's right.
Played for the sixth time?
District 4.
Fifth or sixth time?
They played for the fifth time. Fifth time this year.
Insanity.
It really is. A couple more items right here. A national letter of intent signed this week. Caden Adsit from Heritage High School signed with Carson Newman, Tony. Yes. There we go. That got him out. Got him out of his funk.
Our Blount County
for
Sports
baseball.
Awards.
That's right. Our
Courage
Goatee
winner.
Sports Page Courage Award winner. So congratulations to Caden. And one more item, Greenback High School baseball coach Justin Reidner announced on Thursday of this week that he will step down as skipper of the Cherokee Baseball Club after 4 seasons. Greenback carded a 54-43 record during Justin's tenure at the 1A school, staked a claim to 3 district titles, and went to 2 sectionals. So we wish him well on his journey from here on out.
We
if
do.
he coaches or if he doesn't. He's a great guy.
He was just on the show, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
and,
just a couple of weeks ago.
Wish him the best.
We sure do. We sure do. Well, that's it for the Mandy B. Street Realty local scoreboard for this week. Now I'm going to pitch it over to veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons for his feature, Mark It Down. After I tell you that you're listening to WKCE 105.1 FM and 1180 AM Mid-Century Radio. Marcus?
Well, Donnie, we've got some of the athletes we were just talking about.
Yes, we
It's
do.
funny how that happens sometimes.
Yeah, really.
We just start talking about it, and there they are, right? Just waiting for us, like we knew they were going to show.
Funny how that does happen.
But we could kind of count on this because these guys have already proven they're rather quick on the draw and can show up where we need them to. We've got some of the athletes from Maryville's track team, from the relays. Great performances down there. I think, Troy, did you make it over to the stadium to see any of those?
I did not. No, I was doing tennis all the last 2 days, so I missed y'all. I'm sorry. But you guys are so fast, I wouldn't have seen you.
But and I'll say I'm still adapting to the new format. I still don't like it as much as the old one. But anyway, Maryville had a great performance down there in the large classification. Yeah. So we've got Eli Cobble and Tez Dozier from the 4x200 boys state championship relay, and Jasmine Maiden and Katie Workman from the girls 4x400 state champion relay. So lots of gold medals, right?
Yes.
And nobody wore one in.
Oh, man.
They're already in the trophy case.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pick on the girls first, just because Maryville and the relays on the girls' side goes back a very long way, even to when I used to go to spring fling and cover. 4x400 is one of the hardest because it's not. It's a distance race treated as a sprint.
Yes.
Yes.
Because seeing just how fast you can go around one lap is a lot more challenging than people think about until they try it. What did you all feel going into this one? Just looking at your seating, looking at some of the teams who were competing against, what were you thinking going into this?
Yeah, so we were seated 4th going into it, but we knew that if we all ran what we were capable of running, that we could definitely have a really good finish and maybe finish first. And all day long, all of our other relays had already competed really well. We had some girls do good things in the hurdles, in the throws, and everything. So going into it, we knew that we were just like running for the team to try and win and get some more points up there.
Yes.
So I know you all do some meets, and not just around here, but you hit some of the college venues before. Dean Hayes is kind of nice. You can get some breeze, but not too much, and you can get some sun and not freeze to death under the bleachers. But it can be a nice venue. How was it for you all down there? What was the conditions like for the actual meet for you?
It was a really good day. It was very nice weather. So.
Yeah. It was sunny. Last year we had rain in the morning before the meet. So this year not having that and having like sun all day was really nice. It wasn't too sunny, so we didn't like die in the heat.
Yes.
Well, we've seen it down there when it hits the 90s, it gets a little warm out on that plane.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what was Maryville's setup this year? And I'll let the guys get on this too. Was it were you all tented? Were you out on the practice field, or were you hiding in the bleachers? What did Maryville come prepared for?
Well, we came prepared for everything, like we always are. I mean, we didn't want to sit out there and bake in the heat all day and waste our energy doing nothing. So, of course, we stayed in the shade, sat in our tent, had it out until we needed to compete.
Yep.
So among the group here, you've got long gaps you've got to wait in this,
Yeah.
especially between if you have to go through the prelims and then you've got some stuff going on, and they always have to take the breaks for the award ceremonies in between each event.
Yep.
It can make a long day, and you got to keep that energy for when you want it. How do you do that? And I'll just work down the line, and we can go down. How do you keep that focus and energy for that 5 minutes you need it?
Well, for me, normally when the 4x2 starts, it's for the next 30 minutes. It's all I can do because I go 4x2, 4x1, 400, and that's normally all in the 30 minutes that I have. And it's quick. You got to be ready. You got to be hydrating in between each event, making sure you're ready and loose. And then there's a break, and then I have 4x4. So it's a pretty long break, but just trying to stay loose, warming up a bunch, and just trying to get in a good mental headspace.
Surprising enough, the meet went a lot faster than I expected, at least maybe for a couple of other, rest of us. But it was, it was really fast, and, my first 3 to 4 events were almost like they were back-to-back-to-back, so I had no choice but to stay focused and get ready. And for my last one, I had a couple of events in between then, but even then it felt like it was right next after the first 3 I did. So I just, stayed focused, got my teammates, and got ready.
I feel like for me, it's just making sure that I'm staying loose, staying in the shade, staying hydrated, because like they said, it does go by, the state meet always goes by surprisingly fast. So just trying to stay focused, remember what I need to remember going into each race really helps.
Yeah, just staying loose, stay hydrated, stay out of the sun, just kind of keeping focus on what the main goal is running for the team. So.
All right, so Kate and Jasmine, tell us about this relay. Did you all lead from start to finish, or was this one where you were some back and forth? What break this one down for us as to what happened?
It was a back and forth race
it was.
mostly. Started out strong with Brooke, who handed it off to Katie.
Yep. And then we were in, I think, second or third place for both of our legs. And then Aaliyah came around. Well, we were in second place when Aaliyah got it, and then Aaliyah came around the last team on the back stretch. So it was close, but.
And some people tell me they can't hear it. Some people tell me they hear all of it. When you're out there, do you hear the crowd? Do you hear the fans yelling for you, or is it just a vacuum and you don't hear anything that's going on at all?
I feel like for me it's a mix of both. I hear certain people in the crowd, but for the most part it's just the people in the race.
People.
Yeah.
So, and I'll put this out there. You guys, you can run 400 meters and be as fast as you can be and drop the baton. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there any tightening up or nerves when you get to the exchange zones?
A little bit, especially this year. We were coming in some traffic both times. It was a really close race. So, handing off with a bunch of people around you was a little nerve-wracking. But we had practiced exchange so much that it felt good.
Yeah, it felt good.
Yep.
Now, see, I've thought that. I've heard people say it, but at the same time, I rarely see drops when it's a crowded exchange zone. It's usually when there's no reason for it to happen whatsoever that you see something happen that shouldn't.
Yeah.
Well, guys, break down this one for us. 4x200. It's shorter legs, but there's also not as much time to make up any ground you need to do. So, how did you? Coming in, did you feel like you were going to have a shot at the championship based on the seeding?
We knew from the very beginning of the season we wanted to win at least one of the relays, especially the 4x2. We've always knew we had a better chance of winning the 4x2. And even from before when we were warming up and getting ready to get checked in, it's teams around, even when we were seated first coming into it, and it's teams were still looking at it, looking past us and around us, we weren't even there. And so that kind of put a little chip on our shoulder, teams next to us talking, they're oh, we're worried about this team, that team, and it's we're seated first, and we want to win this just as bad as everybody else does. Right. And so coming into it, we wanted to prove that Maryville is a team that wants to compete, and for the next couple of years, we hope that can be the same scenario.
Right. So that put a little bit of chip on the shoulder to have the number one seed and no respect for it.
Yeah.
Well, break down the race. Was this a start to finish? You all were out in front?
Yeah, DJ's our first leg, and he got out. He pretty much broke the stagger. He got out fast, got out hard, handed off Davis, and Davis was very strong. Kept his leg. Then I got it, and we were just ahead. Handoffs were really good. Got it to Tez, and Tez took it home.
So, do you all stay in place and give the guy that's coming by after you, cues, because nobody wants to look over their shoulder and break that kind of stride. Do you all help each other and give them clues at how close people are behind them, or is there even time in the 4x2?
I don't think we really need clues. Like, we know, like, we're just focused on what we got to do and what we've been practicing. So, as long as we know that what we do, like what we did was right, and that we did what we needed to do, then we know all we can do is, good.
Our best, yeah.
Now you both have other short distance events. Do you like it in the relay because you're not on the blocks, or do you prefer to get a start on the blocks when you get the chance?
Personally, I started the 4x1. I feel like the blocks maybe are a little bit more nerve-wracking because you just gotta be perfect. Don't want to drop the baton getting out. But I feel like I have a better start just coming out, no blocks. You get a little bit of a running start, so it's nice.
I like the running start. All year I've struggled with blocks. Like, my start's always been pretty bad. So having a running start, I'm more of a top end speed type of runner. I don't really have a good acceleration, so that helps me out tremendously, being able to get a running start.
So, if you could pick the event that you would call your favorite, the one that you would circle if you had your choice of any one, what would it be?
I'd be the 200 for sure. Like, it's not short enough to where, like, I cannot make a single mistake and still be good, but it's just long enough to where even if my start is bad, like I said, like, I'm not a very good starter, but I still have time to build up and catch people towards the end of the race.
What about for you?
Mine would definitely be the 400. It's tough, but it's rewarding afterwards.
Crazy people want 400. Let me go down back to over here. So,
I don't know. There's good things about all of the races, but there is something special about our 4x4 team. Like, we've been running together since freshman year, so the four of us have like a pretty good connection in the relay. So that one's always a fun one to look forward to.
Yeah, I think that would be my favorite.
So do you all take that outside the track? Like, can you go in the cafeteria and hand off bottles to each other?
No.
Okay, I didn't know if there was life skills involved in there that you might be able to take from one to the other. So, how are we doing on time, Donnie? I don't want to go over too far.
We got 6 minutes.
Okay, good. We got some time to talk then. So, we've been talking about this several times on the show this year. There's a little bit of a challenge for track because you all have a beautiful campus for Maryville High School, and it's right here downtown. Unfortunately, your track is not part of that campus. So you've got to get over down Maryville Road. Does that present challenges for the team to get to the track?
I don't think so. I mean, the school and administration make it very easy for athletes to get to the track by providing buses for the younger classmen. And, I don't have a car, but, I have teammates and friends who help get me there when I need to be there.
Yeah.
So there's no concerns about anybody running late. You can't use that.
No.
Coach doesn't respect that one.
No.
Well, practice normally starts around 4, so that's like 40 minutes after school ends, so that should give everyone plenty of time to be there.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think I'm going to offend any of our sponsors by asking, but knowing that there is one really close convenience store to there, does that place pile up after practice or before practice? Everybody getting Gatorade?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
For sure. Oh, yeah. It does.
Because I've come down that road at like 3:45, and it looks like there's 1,400 cars in the Kinjo parking lot, and nobody's getting gas. And I've just wondered if that was a contributing factor there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So talk a little bit, because going to state is always special, but what was the experience like? What was your favorite part about going down there? Because I see, some people are sporting the state championship shirts. That's a Belmont shirt.
Yeah, committed.
Committed.
Nice. Signed.
Signed.
Signed, sealed, delivered.
So it's a long day, but it's got to be a lot of fun. So what's the highlight outside of being on the track?
Ooh. We have a lot of good team bonding moments. Our 4x4 team actually rode down in one van together this year. So it was 3 hours just discussing anything and everything. So it's just, I don't know, the whole state meet, it's just really fun to be with the team for 2 days. And what would you say?
Yeah, just getting to talk and connect with the other teammates before you race is a lot of fun. Kind of gets your mind on the team mentality.
Yep.
What about for you guys?
I would think just, looking in the crowd and, when you hear your name over the intercom, just hearing all your supporters and all your fans from, from your hometown, that's a really cool moment for me.
Yeah, for sure. That and then what they were saying, the night before, we all pretty much have a room together, and we'll, the boys this year we had 2 separate rooms, 2 or 3 separate rooms, but we all came into one and just hung out before. Not staying up too late, of course, but
that never happens to teenagers. Never. So the last one I'll put out there to you, you get up there, you're going on the medal stand.
Yep.
Especially, like you said, this team's been together for a long time.
Yep.
Yes.
That's got to be kind of a powerful moment when, besides the fact you don't want to push anybody off the back of that thing. That's got to be kind of an intense moment for you guys.
Yeah.
So what was it? So what was it like?
It was surreal.
Yeah, it was. It kind of is just the moment you realize all of those hard workouts that you fought through, everything you've done since preseason started in January is paying off, and it's just surreal to be up there and be this is why we've worked hard all season. So yeah. It was special.
Special.
Guys, what was it like for you guys? You all, it's just, the medal stand doesn't shrink, but you guys tend to take up a little more space, so it gets a little bit tighter up there to get all 4 of you in on that podium.
Yeah, it's actually funny because it didn't really hit me too. The ride back, it was it was just kind of a fever dream almost. And as soon as we got back to the car, I was like, wow, we're state champs. This is kind of crazy.
It is.
But yeah.
So, and I told that last one, but I lied. So what's bigger in your mind? Is it being on that medal stand at state, or would it be having your name on the school record board for the event?
That's tough.
Well, we sort of got both.
Yeah. In a way, got both.
That's right.
Yeah. I have to say being on the record board just because it's at home. Kids growing up, future classmen get to see that. And then, they get to look up and see our names and be like, oh, we knew them. We ran with them and practiced them. Coach is always talking about how great they were. And also it's cool being able to come back home, see your name still up there and seeing some of the guys you ran with.
Right.
Well, you knocked somebody off of there, right?
Yeah.
Because you look at some of those have been up there a long time.
Yeah.
Some of those names have been on there since '90s, I think, at least 1 or 2. So what about on the girls' side? There's some big names on that record board.
Yes,
Which one would be more significant to you in your mind?
Ooh, I don't know. The podium is, like we said, it's just that's a special moment. It's hard to beat that, but
being on the record board would be pretty special.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, that would be awesome.
Well, tell you what, we appreciate you guys coming in and taking my teasing. And Coach owes you one for taking one for him because he could have been here and suffered as well. So, but we appreciate you guys coming in. Congratulations on the gold.
Thank you.
Something they'll never take away from you, and a great performance from Maryville.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But
Thank you for having us.
Troy, I guess if you've got, unless you want to
Guys,
toss something out there.
I have one more thing because Marcus brings up Coach White, and I just have to applaud you guys for the amount of focus you have in dealing with Coach White because anytime I'm at a track meet and he starts yelling on the track, I start cracking up. I don't know how y'all don't hear him and just absolutely lose focus on anything you're trying to accomplish. So you guys deserve a world of respect for that because that's got to be the hardest job that y'all have as track athletes for Coach White. But again, thank y'all for coming in this morning. We'll take a time out here, and when we return, I will announce the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week. You're listening to the Sports Page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first. We'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
Dunkin' has what you need to conquer the day. So if you want to go from, I don't got this, to, I got this, well, then get this. A bold, smooth espresso drink from Dunkin'. Like a layered velvety caramel macchiato, a rich chocolatey mocha latte, or a creamy non-dairy oat milk latte. Because this day isn't going to conquer itself. No, you're going to do that. Take a sip of You Got This with Dunkin' Espresso drinks. Order ahead on the app plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensonTire.net. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
I guess I should have my headset on, shouldn't I? Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Troy Provo Heron, and it's time for the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week. And we are joined by, look at this. We're getting a late edition right here at the buzzer. I like this.
She just ran in.
Well, they are track and field coaches, so that makes sense. We're joined by Alcoa track and field coaches Chris Frary and Pam Haggard and Charlotte Timon, a member of the girls Class A state champion track and field team. Congratulations to all of y'all. And Charlotte, I want to start with you. Just what was it like to watch those points kind of rack up? And was there at any point, y'all won by a pretty sizable margin. Was there any point where y'all felt like, all right, this is ours, we won this thing?
Oh, yeah. It was definitely after AK Bauman and I got 3rd and 4th in the hurdles, and then we kind of knew we had it kind of locked in. We knew from the beginning that if we just ran how we needed to run and how we were capable of running, that we had it. So we just had to do what we could do.
Charlotte, what does it mean to you to be the first ever girls team to go to Murfreesboro and win the state championship?
Oh, it's unreal. I've always wanted a state championship. Like, it felt so great to make history.
For most of you girls, you guys have watched the boys win it the last 2 years. Did that kind of give y'all any extra motivation heading into this spring?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we've always been proud of the boys, but, I mean, there's always a part of you that's like, I wish that was us.
Yeah. Coach Frary, just what can you say about your girls' team and kind of what they accomplished this week in Murfreesboro?
Well, it was a pretty phenomenal experience, I think, for a lot of those kids. we told them from the very beginning that, we knew we had a strong nucleus of kids coming back, and we told them that this is the year. If you guys want to step up and take it, it's yours. And going into the meet, we kind of pulled the kids aside primarily individually and just said, all you guys got to do is just hold form. What you're seated at right now going into this meet, if you do that, you win this meet comfortably. And for the most part, that's what these girls did all day long. They either ran their seed time or they exceeded it. And Charlotte's exactly right. We knew going in after the 300 hurdles that it was kind of an insurmountable lead that we had at that point. Going into it, it was still feasible for East Nashville to kind of come back and win it. But that one nailed it. We knew we had it after that.
There were also some individual state champions. I want to start with Jordan Harris, who couldn't be here today, but Coach, just what a remarkable career that kid's had, and to finish it off with a state championship in the long jump and the 200-meter, I believe. Just what can you say about him and the career he's had and how he's kind of performed for you all throughout his career?
Yeah, it was a long jump in the 100.
Long jump in the 100. Yeah. There we go.
We, what do you say about Jordan's accomplishments over the years? Four state football championships, a basketball team championship. This is his third year in a row winning the 100 meters individually. Then the third year in a row winning the long jump individually, and then he adds the 100-meter to that as well.
Ran a 10:58.
10:58. That's healthy. that is a healthy time.
Definitely healthy.
And he's and then on top of that, he's got two team state championships in track. So I think that probably qualifies him as the most decorated athlete in the history of the school. I don't think anybody else is probably close in terms of just across multiple sports.
It's funny you say that. I was just about to ask. Obviously, it's a storied school in terms of athletics, but can you make the case that Jordan Harris is the best athlete that's ever competed at Alcoa High School?
Well, yeah, you're opening up a real can of worms on that one.
What is this? Put him on
you can make the case. I'm just saying.
Now, from my perspective,
yeah.
I would say yes, but now we've got an assistant coach on staff that also has a football state championship and many individual state championships in track that could probably you could make a good argument for them. We've had some phenomenal athletes come through Alcoa over the years. So I'm just going to say that Jordan is easily one of the greatest, and we'll leave it at that. In my view, yes, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that would come up with a healthy argument for theirs.
Albert Davis
as well.
Was pretty good.
You're darn tootin' is. Yeah.
Hey,
man among boys.
Jordan also added a state basketball championship this year too, so he has that one to his resume.
Now, in terms of awards, I don't think anybody else comes close. Yeah.
He's an exceptional one.
Yeah.
And Pam, I'm going to talk to you about the other one because I know your specialty's in the long distance and you coach her in the fall as well. But Casey Holliday in the I can't remember exactly all the ones she won today. I know she won a relay and a long run. Just what can you say about her and kind of how she kind of helped you all push to that girls' state championship?
Well, she definitely added to our girls' team. I mean, the girls' team we knew was strong already, and then to have her in our pocket was just something more for us to go with. Casey's a hard worker. She's a great team player. I was very excited that she got to help that girls 4x8 bring home their victory. I was super excited about that. The 4x8 team without her last year came in runner-up, so this year for them to finish first and get that championship for some of those girls that have been on the team for a few years was very exciting. And then Casey was more than willing to be on that relay and then come back, run the 8. She got runner-up in the 800, the 1600, and then she won the 32. So she's tough. She's just a hard worker, tough.
You were just talking about 400. To run 2 800s and a 3200, that's a lot of running.
But those are on pace. So the 400 is a distance event disguised as a sprint. I'd stick with that.
Well, she put in a lot of miles.
She put a lot of
for
meters
us
in.
And she did an excellent job with it. And again, I was really proud of her for wanting to be part of that relay as well. There's a lot of distance runners who want to be there, get those individual wins and not be in it for the team. And she never hesitated to be there in every event we needed her in. And I think was most excited about that win with the relay team. That's just the kind of kid she is.
Charlotte, Coach Ferry mentions the message he told y'all, where if y'all just kind of run to where you're seated, we're going to win this thing. But are there any nerves? I mean, obviously it's the state meet. It's the biggest meet y'all will compete in all year. Are there any nerves as you kind of walk into Dean A. Hayes there?
Oh, for sure. I'm shaking in the blocks most of the time, like, because you feel the pressure. But, I mean, with the hurdles, too, you have the extra, like, trying to get over those without falling. And the relays are better for me because you have your team with you and, like, you're kind of all in it together. But the nerves are crazy.
I wanted to talk to you about the hurdles because obviously you and AK finished 3rd and 4th. Is there some healthy inter-team competition there? Any of y'all looking over each other's shoulders or looking ahead and kind of wanting to beat one another?
Yeah, there is, I think. We push each other. We're friends off the team, too, so it's healthy, but we definitely are both competitive teammates, and we push each other to be better.
And make a great photo.
Yeah, it does.
Scott Keller had a killer photo of y'all going to the hurdles from state. I think it was in Wednesday or Thursday's paper, but just very focused look on your face.
Oh, yeah.
Locked in.
Yes.
I think a lot of people don't realize that what Charlotte's actually overcome in the last year, too. She was in the sectional meet in the spring of 2022, one of the favorites in the triple jump, and she came down on a foot wrong and broke her leg, and spent pretty much the entire summer rehabbing that. She managed to finally get back and kind of finish her soccer season last year. So for her to come back from that and end up still having the success she did, and she was willing to overcome. Well, I mean, I think her freshman year she clipped a hurdle in the 300s and face planted, got up and finished that one at the sectional meet. And then the next year in the sectional meet, she breaks her leg. So it's like we're going into this sectional meet thinking, what could go wrong this time? But the fact of the matter is for a lot of athletes, they never overcome that fear to take on some of those events. And, and I think there was a little bit of hesitation at the beginning of the year, but I kind of encouraged her to come back to the 300 hurdles, and she did. And you can see the outcome of that. She's kind of exercised a few demons, I think, as far as what she was afraid of, and got back in there and competed again. We're exceptionally proud of her.
Charlotte, he mentions the broken leg, but that comes a few months after you hurt your leg in the state semifinals in soccer, too. So I'm wondering just how long did it take you to kind of get trust in those legs again after all that kind of happened last year in your junior year?
It took a while. I worked all summer with Peggy to get back in shape, working out. It was my left leg that I broke, and then it was my right leg that I hurt in the first soccer.
Yeah.
And it took a while, and soccer started out kind of rough, but I got back in shape, and it was fine.
You would think with one session with Peggy, you would learn not to do that. You don't want to be hurt again.
Right.
Pam, just kind of what can I would ask this to Chris, but he had some news happen yesterday too that he won't be here next year. So I kind of want to talk to you about the team going forward. Obviously, when you have a girls team that goes ahead and wins state, just what is the message to the girls who return and kind of trying to replicate that success as the boys did the 2 years prior to this one?
Well, the good news for our team is we're young, the boys and girls. I mean, we are losing a few, but in general, we're a young team. So that's exciting moving forward. The nucleus of this group is gonna stay, and we are sad to be losing a big part of this team. But as we move forward, we have a lot of the same kids there, a lot of the same coaches there. So it's just carry on, move forward, and let's just see what we can do.
Now you need to track.
Exactly. I think that would really help us out a lot.
Well, hopefully we can start helping that a little bit.
Yeah.
Chris, we talked about Jordan, but I also want to talk about this boys team because they did have a good performance. Obviously, maybe not the one that they've had the past 2 years, but those past 2 years teams were stacked. So just what can you say about your boys team and kind of the effort they put forth this week?
Well, yeah, we definitely lost some quality off that team from last year, but we had some kids. I think Jordan stepped up in a big way. And scored a huge number of points for us. But I think you also have to mention Sam Bridges in that equation. He scored for us in the 8, the 16, and the 32. He was kind of our boys' version of what Casey was doing. And doing those 3 events, especially in the heat of the afternoon and evening, that's a tough triple for anybody. So I mean, those were I think were our 2 key guys in that. But there, like Pam said, there are some young kids coming up that are going to help us. We've got a great middle school program that is feeding some good athletes into the program next year. So, this program is going to be strong for years to come.
Pam, he mentioned Sam. We talked about Casey earlier. It has to really excite you about the fall coming up,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yeah. And he did mention Graham Mizell is one of our freshman guys. He was on our 4x8, also qualified and ran the 3200. And he's just as a freshman. So that's exciting to know that we've got some guys coming up. Really exciting. And it's exciting for the cross-country coach, too. So I'm ready for the fall.
Awesome. Well, we want to thank you all for coming in this morning, talking with us. Congratulations again, Charlotte and all of y'all on a state championship.
Can I ask a
Go ahead. You're more than welcome to.
Once upon a time, they used to give a combined championship, like most points, boys and girls. If I did the math right, didn't Alcoa have 160-something points? Wouldn't y'all have been like the unified champion if they still did that?
I would say that would probably be going to either Memphis Central or Brentwood, because they went 1-2 in both the boys and girls AAA. So it'd be close, I think. But I haven't actually looked at the point totals, but I know both of them scored up in the upper 80s.
You break 100, which for small schools to win and meet with 100, that's an accomplishment. But 160 in small schools, I think East Nashville had 140 combined points, and so they don't give that trophy.
Small schools, we would have definitely won it. Yeah,
they don't give that trophy anymore, but it would have been a combined team state championship if they still did that.
Yeah. You got to say something about just Blount County track and field in general, and the progress that's being made. You got a state champion that came out of Heritage in the high jump, and in Grant Campbell, and I looked at the results from AAA yesterday, or the day before, I guess it was, with Maryville, and those kids had a great day too. Won several relays, and that AAA is a meat grinder as far as trying to win that thing. So for those kids to come down and have that kind of success, and then William Blount, I think, had a couple that also got on the podium. So track and field's in good shape in Blount County. I would say probably maybe the strongest in the state.
Yeah.
We talked a little while ago.
We said it last segment. It's the best county for sports in the entire state.
Yeah, we talked a little while ago.
Yep.
Blunt County wore spring fling out as far as just total number of athletes that we put in spring fling.
Yep.
It looks to me like you could get a track.
So who do you owe thanks to this year?
Do all this without a track. I mean, what could you do if you had a track to work on?
who do you owe thanks to this year as far as who's helped provide facilities to practice on?
Oh, well, for the last 2 years, William Blount has been very generous in letting us use their track pretty much any time we want. We try to limit that as much as possible. Normally, maybe once a week we go over there. The rest of the time we just improvise it at school. We've built a long jump pit there, and I've managed to resurrect a few old hurdles, and we've got hurdles to practice on, and so we can do a lot of the things there, just not as efficiently as you would if you had a track. And then Maryville has allowed a few of our athletes to come over there and work as well. Damon Ward, our pole vaulter, has benefited from that greatly. He's gone over and actually trained with the Maryville
that's not
group.
something you can throw together out beside the practice field.
And Coach Bashirs has been very gracious in allowing Damon to work over there with their pole vaulters, and has worked a lot with him himself. And Coach White has always been very good about kind of opening the facilities to us when we really need it to like work multi-events or so, because they've got the only pole vault facility in town. So any kid that wants to pole vault has to go there pretty much.
Can't pole vault over the field goal uprights?
Yeah, probably could, but I don't know that the outcome would be good.
I don't think so.
Well, again, thank you all for coming in this morning. Congratulations, and it's time for a break. When we return, it's Headlines with Donnie Moore and the Tennessee Smoky Spotlight. You're listening to the Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
Hit a grand slam with Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union to win big on savings. On first, member managed funds account. On second, free spend account. On third, certificate accounts with competitive savings rates.
Load your bases at tvacreditunion.com.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Must use e-statements for no fee option. Some restrictions may apply. Ask for details.
The Bluetick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Bluetick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Bluetick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service. For over
Tony, I have to intro the segment. Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in Maryville. This is Troy Provo-Heron, and here are this week's sports headlines with Donnie Moore.
Why, thank you, my friend. Indeed, here are this week's sports headlines. Well, in Game 5 of the NBA Eastern Conference Finals, the Boston Celtics clawed their way back from a 3-0 deficit with a 110-97 win at home on Thursday, and will play Game 6 in Miami tonight with a chance to even up the series at 3-3. The survivor of this hard-fought series must face the Denver Nuggets, who seemed to breeze through the Western Conference Final by manhandling the LA Lakers 4-0.
No team in the history of the NBA has ever come back from down 3-0. There's only one team that's done it in baseball, and it was obviously the Boston Red Sox in 2004. Shout out to David Ortiz and all the guys. But the Boston Celtics with a chance to join the Red Sox in that illustrious group. And, some of my best friends are from Miami. They're all big Heat fans. I was on the phone with them last night. And
what do they think?
They're expressing a lot of concern.
I bet they are.
They're expressing a lot of concern. I don't know if the Celtics are going to come back, but if they play like they have the last 2 days, it's hard to win postseason playoff games in the NBA when you don't score 100 points. The Heat haven't crossed that threshold the last 2 days. And the Celtics can keep playing good defense and not get stinker performances from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They're going to make things real interesting.
Well, if Miami comes back and ends up winning it, I mean, what a run Miami's having going through right now with the Panthers.
In my great little hometown of Sunrise, Florida.
There you go.
Panthers.
There you go.
I don't care one lick about hockey, but
You care now.
I do support them just a tad.
Speaking of which, in the National Hockey League, the Florida Panthers await the winners of the series between the Dallas Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights.
What a great intro that was.
Yeah. The Golden Knights lead the series 3 games to 1 and face off tonight in Las Vegas at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Nothing shouts hockey like Miami and Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, no kidding. They don't even have any
Who would have
ice
thought
out
30
there.
years ago with the NHL that one day the championship is going to probably end up in either Miami,
Or
Arizona,
Las Vegas, in the middle of the
Las
desert,
Vegas,
or
that's right.
in the Everglades.
No one would have predicted
None of
that.
those places even know what ice is.
No.
Well, this weekend they have the Colonial Hills and Colonial golf course. With a purse of $8.7 million, they're having the Charles Schwab Golf Challenge. Now, they have built a fashionable tradition in just a few short years. They give a souped-up vehicle to the winner.
Wow.
I bet you didn't know that. I didn't.
Didn't.
It began in 2019 when Kevin Na won the tournament and gave a light blue 1973 Dodge Challenger to his caddy. Then Jason Kokrak has enjoyed driving his kids to school in the restored blue 1946 Dodge Power Wagon he won in 2021. In 2022, Sam Burns rolled out of Colonial Country Club behind the wheel of a fully restored and modernized 1979 Pontiac Trans Am, fully inscribed with the word Schwab in multiple places.
I used to have a Trans Am.
Did you really?
Black Trans Am.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, can't believe I got rid of it.
Did people mistake you for
Bert?
For the Bandit?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Could you fit in a Trans Am now?
No, have to
I had a
a Trans what?
Trans Am.
Oh,
and orange and white convertible.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Now, tournament organizers this year have a real treat in store for the winner. It is a completely restored and updated 1973 Schwab Ford Bronco.
Oh. Is it modeled after the O.J. Simpson Bronco?
No, you wouldn't recognize it.
Okay, good.
It's blue with an interior that resembles the plaid jacket that's given to the winner.
Okay.
It's really cool. You ought to Google it and look at the picture.
I think sometimes.
So that's a pretty cool.
Let me know when the Ford station wagon is.
There we go.
There you go. That's what we all used to be.
Yeah, you
the
won't
Country
just have
Squire?
to have that.
Yeah,
Country Squire.
You never had to worry about seatbelts. You just throw all the kids in the back and
Didn't need them.
Yeah. Amazing.
Well, the NFL has instituted a new rule that will almost eliminate collisions on kickoffs.
Ooh.
Yeah, get that.
Oh, they put
At
the
least
ball at the 25.
At least for this season, a returner may now ask for and make a fair catch on a kickoff. The ball would then be set up at the 25-yard line. Supposedly, this is being done in the name of safety.
You know, Donnie.
I see the wheels turning, Ray.
No, Donnie, it's hard to argue things like that when we have guys like Ray Trail and Tony Iruli come in here after bashing their brains in together for however many years, and it's kind of hard to sit here and say that it's not for player safety. I mean, you think about how much smarter you two would be if you had just not
It's barely
done
affected
cook-offs.
me. Barely affected me. I'm just going to put some flags on the side and say 1 or 2 hand touch.
Yep.
Let's not tackle. Forget football.
Just get rid of the kickoff. Here's my reason why I think you get rid of the kickoff anyway. How many NFL games do you guys watch?
Just flip the coin.
The only reason I say it is because if
ball.
you guys watch an NFL kickoff game, 90% of the kickoffs go into the back of the end zone anyway. All the kickers have rockets for legs, so it doesn't matter.
They do.
But in case they don't do it, now you got the opportunity to return one and get the ball out past the 25-yard line and get your offense in good scoring position.
Sure.
Yeah.
What if a guy fair catches it at the 30? They put back to the 25?
No, I think you fair catch it. You get it at the 30.
Yeah, you'd get it wherever it.
I
It's
thought
ju-
it went to the 25.
No, it's if it's past the 25,
If
you
it's
get it where
past
you
the
fair
25.
caught it. If it's behind the 25, like if you fair catch on the 4, then it goes to the 25.
Yeah.
It's like a threshold line.
You can fair catch the ball right now on kickoff.
Yeah, but it goes to the 20.
Not in the NFL.
Not in the NFL. So
In college you can.
Yeah, a little bloop kick from the kickoff guy. You can not.
Yes.
You can fair catch.
You can fair catch, yes.
Yeah.
Well, with the SEC,
well.
with the SEC spring meeting set to convene next week in Miramar Beach, Florida. You know where that is, Troy?
Yeah, I guess my dad used to work at Miramar Beach.
There
so.
you go.
It's in Miramar, right?
Miramar Beach, Florida.
Yes, Tony. See, this is what I'm talking about with the kickoffs. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
That's in Florida, right?
Yeah, Florida.
One of the major topics of discussion will be whether or not the league moves to a 9-game schedule after expansion. And that is a move that is, according to multiple reports, quickly losing support. Administrators have been debating proposed models since June 2021's announcement that Texas and Oklahoma will join the conference. The most popular are a 9-game format that would feature 3 permanent rivals and 6 rotating opponents, or an 8-game format that consists of 1 permanent rival and 7 rotating games. Alabama coach Nick Saban, a longtime proponent of adding games to the SEC schedule, is now emerging as one of the primary opposing voices to the 9-game model, apparently because of which 3 teams Alabama's permanent rivals would be. And those are Tennessee, Auburn, and LSU.
That's in the model. That's one of the possibilities.
And he doesn't want those to be Alabama's permanent rivals.
I mean, admittedly, it seems it seems a bit unfair.
Well, like we said, there's just not enough Vanderbilt to go around.
Yeah, I want to be the team
that's
that
true.
plays
We've
Vanderbilt.
talked about that.
I mean, but it doesn't just have to be Vanderbilt. It could be Mississippi State. It could be.
Kentucky.
I'm not saying Mississippi State or Kentucky are on the level of Vanderbilt. They obviously Vanderbilt is the cellar of the cellar. They went into the cellar, they dug deeper, and they buried themselves in that pit. But there are some teams in the SEC that are not what I would consider the upper echelon of their conference.
Your mid-level type.
Your Mississippi States. Your
Ole
for the most
Misses,
part, Ole Misses. You know, your Kentuckys.
South Carolina.
There are plenty of South Carolina. Yeah, there are plenty of those teams that Missouri. Like, you know, those teams that you can still make up with not having to make Alabama play that.
Yeah. So the 9-game schedule may be done for.
And granted, Tennessee's also kind of been in that spot for quite a long time.
Yeah,
but they've been in that mid pack. But not last year. Doesn't really feel like. You know what I'm saying.
All right, three items
I think he did.
on this day list, trivia list for May 27th. 1987, New York Yankee knuckleballer Phil Niekro is the 3rd pitcher to make his 700th start. That's a lot of starts.
A lot of knuckleballs.
Yeah. He joined 2 other pitchers. You guess who they were? Anybody want to make a guess?
700.
Make 700 starts.
700 starts.
Mm-hmm.
Nolan Ryan?
Nope. One was Don Sutton. The other one was Cy Young.
Okay.
Yeah.
My gosh, Cy Young.
Yeah.
But going to Troy, he only threw 75 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just on in the late 80s.
Yep.
Okay.
1993, Dale Murphy ended his career with 398 home runs. Not in the Hall of Fame.
Should never have had his mole taken off his cheek. That was the turning point in his career.
That was turning point in his career.
What
wasn't
if
it?
He had the mole like on his right cheek, and then he got it taken off, and after that his home run protection went down.
That is one of the most absurd sentences that's ever been said on this show.
Look at the stats.
It is just.
I'm telling you.
Have you listened to this show?
I
That
have.
doesn't crack the top 10.
It's to me, it's up. It's
Look
that's
at the
so
stats.
that's so out of left field.
Do your research on this one. You watch.
Okay.
Hey,
So like,
pre-mole.
Did the mole have
post-mole.
like superpowers? It's like where all of his football knowledge
Look
was stored.
at the stats.
Because that's
As
what
a
it makes me
Dale
sound.
Murphy fan,
It
that I
changed-
was.
it changed
got
his
face-
vision.
Yeah.
He didn't see the pitches
Check
as
the
well.
stats out.
Okay.
Hey, he was on route to be a Hall of Famer and all that. Got the mole taken off his right cheek, and his home run protection went down. Check the stats out.
So it had like all of his baseball knowledge in.
Yep. That was the difference maker.
Okay.
It changed his
Pre-mole,
balance.
Pre-mole, after
Changed
mole.
his sense of balance.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Fair enough.
Changed his peripheral vision.
I'll wait,
That's it.
I'll wait for you to
Started
say,
seeing
Tony, what? You may have been right on that. All those kickoffs didn't affect yourself on that.
And in 2018, the Indy 500, Will Power becomes the first Australian to win the Indy 500. Will Power. That was for Mike.
I love that name.
Will Power. Yeah, that's a good
look,
name.
I know, Mike. I told you this last week. Just please, just for whatever you do, nobody here at the sports page wants to see a video of you wandering on the track, lost, waving at everybody. Just stay in your seat, stay in the garage, wherever you're at. Just don't wander onto the track. We don't want that.
We don't want
Mike. You're gonna wander onto the track at the Indy 500, and he's just gonna. Car is gonna be zooming by him
His
at
seat
200
is so,
miles an hour.
His seat is so high.
They can't get to the track.
The only time he can get on the track is when the thing closes. He might walk out
Instead
there.
of the guy coming asking if they're selling cotton candy,
Yeah.
he reaches up and grabs a cloud.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know who the car
He's in
owner
the
was?
third seat in the top.
Got me.
Well, probably the most famous car owner, Roger Penske. It was his 17th win as a car owner.
Okay.
Roger Penske. That's it for this week's Sports Headlines. Let's bring the Tennessee Smokies spotlight into focus. Back to you, Boy Wonder.
And it's only fitting that the Tennessee Smokies spotlight should focus on baseball. Is the way it should always
It's
be.
amazing how that works.
I can't convince Mike to do it that way. But when I'm here in this seat,
let's do it.
We're going to talk about baseball. Darn it.
Yeah, that's right. You're the man.
I'm going to start with the American League East because I'm a Red Sox fan, and that's what I want to do.
All right,
Well, have at it.
You're in the driver's seat today,
It
buddy.
is.
Have at it.
Go for it.
We're in a division right now in the American League East where I don't know if we've ever seen a collection of teams that have been as good as this group is. Now, I came into the year thinking the Red Sox would stink. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I thought they'd win like 65 games and would be in the spot for like a top 5 pick. I like all those kids at LSU. I was watching early in the season college baseball season. I was really excited. I was like, "Oh, the Red Sox might get Dylan Cruz. Like this could be special." They're currently 27-24, which is good for 4th place in the American League East, which is terrible.
Yep.
The Blue Jays are 27-25. They're in last place in the division. The Rays are at a startling best record in baseball, 38-15, and they just got something special going on over there. They've won 4 straight games by 2 or more runs. They got it all going. The Yankees have kind of figured some things out. They're 30-23. Orioles 33-18 is the biggest surprise of Major League Baseball so far in the positive way. I'm going to ask you guys about the biggest surprise in baseball in the negative way here in a bit. But from my old timers here, and I know it's only been 50-ish games, so there's a lot of season left to be played. But could this be the best division race that we've seen in baseball in a long time?
Well, you got all 5-6 teams all within about.
Well, they're within
10-12.
they're within 10.5 games because the Rays don't lose baseball games, but they all are over 500.
Yeah. Well, I personally like the Rays. I've always been a Rays fan, being from the west side of Florida.
Yeah.
And what they've done over there the last few years has been very solid. And good pitching, solid hitting throughout their lineup. I just wish more people would come out there and watch their games.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always enjoyed going into the dome. You walk into the dome and it's 100 degrees out there. You walk straight into air conditioning. I like the environment of baseball there. And
I covered the Rays after my junior year of college. I interned at MLB.com, and people always say the Trop is terrible. The Trop is terrible. And yes, it kind of looks like a white boob from the outside looking at it.
What?
But
was that Ray saying that?
Let's not say that again.
I did not say that.
Okay.
But
it's still
but it's so nice to be playing baseball in Florida and it constantly be 72 degrees. You don't have to worry about the rain. Please do not say anything bad about Tropicana Field. It's a great place.
God, I can't believe I totally agree with him.
It's a great place.
Yeah, it's
but,
really.
But
yeah,
from a
absolutely right.
baseball perspective, I think they have the best manager in baseball,
Mm-hmm.
and Kevin Cash. I think they have the best front office in baseball. I mean, what they've done the last few years with the very little amount of money their ownership gives to that organization,
Sure.
and find a way to be as competitive and really, to me, the best organization in baseball the last 5 years, maybe outside of the Astros and the Dodgers. Remarkable.
Yeah, they seem to do more with less. I mean, when you compare what the amount of salaries they're able to give out and all that, it's a lot less than most of the teams have available and all that. So you're absolutely right. I think very good management in the front office, on the field, good solid players. When it's time for a player, it's time to move on. They seem to have someone there that they can plug in. And I just wish there'd be like 25,000, 30,000 every game to go out there.
When I was in Tampa a couple weeks ago, actually, for my sister's graduation, the Yankees were in town, and there were so many. They sold so many tickets that it was the first time that they took the tarp off the upper deck.
Oh, really?
For the first time since 2015.
No kidding.
It's the first time in 8 years that they actually had people sitting in the upper deck.
Out in the upper deck. Wow,
So,
wow.
that was great for them.
That's a good move and all that.
Yeah. Okay, so I teased it earlier. Again, only 50 games into the season, plenty of time to kind of make up some ground and feel better about yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an organization that is not playing good baseball at the moment, but at this point in the year, is there a team for any of y'all that has been wildly disappointing?
Well, there's so many of them. I think that I don't believe I'll get
I have
started
an answer,
on
but
that.
I have an answer. Well, I was going to say the Mets up until about 2 weeks ago. They started playing better baseball. I still think that when you're paying your roster, it kind of feels like $4.5 billion, whatever they're paying. They should probably be a little bit better than 2 games over 500. But I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here.
What about the Phillies? How have they been doing?
The Phillies are 3 games under 500. They probably are in the conversation.
Okay.
They're too talented to be as bad as they are.
Yeah.
But I am going to sit here, and I'm just going to roast the San Diego Padres for a little bit here.
Go for it.
As much money as you've invested in that roster, you have Fernando Tatis. You traded for Juan Soto last year. You signed Xander Bogaerts in the offseason. I mean, that's just on paper. That's the best lineup in baseball. If not, maybe second or third behind the Braves and Dodgers. And you can make the argument. They're one of the best lineups in baseball. Your pitching staff is Joe Musgrove. You have Yu Darvish. You have Josh Hader as your closer. That team is loaded. And just talent-wise, you look at it and you think that team should be winning the NL West by hands down. Look, I'm a sucker. I've made this very public on this show. I gamble a lot. And so before the season, I picked the Padres to win the National League. I looked at that roster. I said, you know what? It's going to be tough. The Braves are really good. I think Milwaukee's pretty good. The Dodgers are pretty good. But there's just no way. And I think they were like the 4th or 5th favorite. And I thought, for that value, the Padres have great value in winning the National League. Tony, I look at that bet like once a week, and I just cry.
You're crying?
They are so bad. They're 24-27 with that roster.
Who's their manager?
It doesn't matter. Whoever he is, he needs to be strapped to a rocket and sent to Saturn. Awful. So that's my answer. The Padres.
So don't pull back on
the Padres.
I am one of those guys that the more you pay, the less you get.
We'll tell that to the Yankees.
That's.
They have the most World Series championships.
I'm telling you, these people that go out and think they can buy enough players to win don't win. And how, if you sign a contract for $50 million or $100 million or whatever it is, where's your incentive?
Yeah.
To me, I mean, the
and
guy,
baseball's fully guaranteed.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying. You're guaranteed.
You
this
give me
money.
$300 million. All of a sudden, hitting the batting cages every day doesn't necessarily feel like something I want to do.
I believe I'll skip the day.
But when you're part of it is you pay that top dollar, and you spend so much of your revenue. Let's say it that way.
Yeah.
You spend so much of it on 3 or 4 or 5 players. You've still got a full rest of the dugout. So when you start looking at what some of those guys are making and the problems it creates and whether you can have the best guys when you get down to 10 through 20, are those the worst 10 through 20 guys in the league because you spend all your money on on these paying these pitchers here?
I don't know how you do that. I mean, I really don't know how you do that. And to me, I think they should have a set number, of money that you can ought to pay, and that ought to be it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, how would you feel if you're making
Socialized
$100,000 and the guy's making $500,000 or $1 million? That I'm asked to do the same things that he's doing.
Well, I think there's the balance, right?
Like there ain't none.
If we were on the sports page, and I think there's two different mentalities of it. If we're on the sports page here and Ray Trail's making $300 million to come here and do whatever you do, I don't really know what you do, but you do it. And I'm making $1 million. I think part of me would say, okay, well, I have to work harder to try and get to Ray.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Or get a new agent.
That would be a normal.
Yeah.
That would be a normal reaction.
Yeah. And so I do think there's like some counter things of it, whereas, yes, your higher paid players probably aren't working as hard as they were before, but your lower paid players are probably trying to get to that point.
Right.
So there's probably a balance there. I just don't know. The Padres stink is the thing I wanted to say.
You made it very clear.
And I was at Dr. Klein's dentist office last week, so I'm going to throw him a bone and say, hey, that the Braves are probably going to win the National League. I know he'll be happy to admit that. They should go ahead and just engrave Ronald Acuna's MVP trophy. That guy's playing out of his mind right now. Now, granted, he's liable to step on a sprinkler head like Lou Gehrig and never be the same again. That guy's made of paper. But if he stays healthy and the Braves stay healthy,
Lou Gehrig
boy, they look good. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Mickey Mantle. He stepped on the sprinkler head and ruined his leg, and he was never the same after. That's my fault. That's my fault.
They're so easily confused.
It's all the Yankees people that played in the 50s. They're all the same to me. They're all the same to me. That's it for headline. But no, that's Donnie's part. Time for a break. When we return, the panel presents Shelter Insurance
just
Bold Predictions. You're listening to the Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at StevensonTire.net.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
Dunkin' has what you need to conquer the day. So if you want to go from, I don't got this, to, I got this, well, then get this. A bold, smooth espresso drink from Dunkin'. Like a layered velvety caramel macchiato, a rich chocolatey mocha latte, or a creamy non-dairy oat milk latte. Because this day isn't going to conquer itself. No, you're going to do that. Take a sip of You Got This with Dunkin' Espresso drinks. Order ahead on the app plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today: call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Troy Provo-Heron, and it's time for the panel Shelter Insurance Bold Predictions of the Week. And guys, as we mentioned earlier, we're done. We made it through a whole school year of high school athletics. It's over, spring fling in the books, and now we can focus on the summer, get these kids some rest. They've all competed really hard, so enjoy your 2 months. But I wanted to take some time now that it's all over to look ahead to next year and sit here and make some bold predictions about what we think will happen in high school athletics next year. And I want good predictions, guys, and you know, some well-thought-out thoughts. I'm going to go first to buy you guys some time and think of some things, but some things that can happen. And I'm going to go out and say that next year, this is what I'm going with. Heritage football will win their first postseason game since 1985.
You know what? I was going to mention that. I think Heritage has done a very good job advancing their football program. I think that they're making all the right moves in terms of their coaching staff, and bringing players showing strong interest in the program. I don't know about them winning the playoff or anything like that, but I think they're going to be a much stronger team in contention to.
I'm just saying one playoff game. I'm not saying they're going to win the state championship.
It would be it'd be great that they're able to do that. So I just think that they've done a very good job getting that program turned around, going in the right direction.
Yeah, I just think with that system, you get your quarterback back and all that stuff. I just think that they're going to be put in a really good position to do some damage in that region this year, set themselves up with a good seed to get a good opponent in that first round and win one.
Yeah, that'd be great. That would be great advancement for that program.
It'd be great for this community because it's been so, for the last however many years, it's just been so Maryville, Alcoa dominated. And not that there's anything wrong with that. Those two programs deserve their spot in the sun because of how well coached they are, what they do on the field. But it would be nice, I think, in this county to see a third team and see some more competition from those teams that have maybe been in the shadows the last couple of years. And I just think Heritage is poised to break out and catch their moment in the sun next year.
Yeah, and at the same time, I know William Blunt still has a long ways to go and all that, but I'm very supportive, especially as a college coach, being able to see these two programs move in the right direction. And but I like the direction where Heritage is going right now, and it definitely takes a lot of hard work. The main thing is attracting players from their area to stay at their school.
Mm-hmm.
So many times, and we talked about it briefly, where you have a person from Greenback, well, he plays over in Alcoa. For them to attract, and they're doing a good job in terms of their youth program leagues and all that, to get these kids interested in their local school, and that's the big issue that they always got.
Well, you're always going to have that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way to get around it.
Right.
Because if I'm playing at some school, we're fighting for 500. I'm gonna transfer to Alcoa or Maryville, somewhere, because I feel like not only will I get noticed more, but I want to take my education and football and all higher. Mm-hmm. Well, if I stay down here and we win 5 games or 4 games, I'm not getting much publicity. And I can understand the guy saying, I want to go. If I'm put in the time, I want to get a reward for it. I'm just not here for the school. I'm looking past that.
Yeah.
You got to plan ahead. If you want to compete for a scholarship, to go to Carson Newman, you got to be good.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's the thing.
It's what we're seeing more and more now.
That's what I'm saying.
Now you in the high school level, you're allowed NIL deals.
Yeah.
So if I'm got 2 competing schools, I'm talking about in high school now, where they're after the quarterback coming out of the 9th grade that's got some good talent. Well, this car dealership might offer this kid. I mean, it's gone into a big mess where it used to be just trying to keep the kids within your school's boundaries to go to that school. So these high schools have to go ahead and make that school attractive by being very active in the youth football programs, by getting the kids on the campus of the high schools. And you got to be recruiting these kids starting in 5th, 6th grade.
It's just like what we talked about a while ago. How in the world can Alcoa compete with anybody when they don't even have a track or anything to work with? Mm-hmm. I mean, they do a great job over there to not even have the facilities that the other schools have. And, to me, you got to put everybody on the same level, at least in the grounds and coaches. And if you want to move up, and if you want to keep going slow down here, everybody's going to pass you by. And that's what happens. And then the kids, they want to go, hell, if I want to play, I want to play for a winner. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to put the time in, I want something in return. Yeah. And that's just the way and if there are more kids getting scholarships from Alcoa, I want my son to go there. Because I'd like for him to have a scholarship to play football.
School's expensive.
Well, that's why you see that more and more high schools, and we see it as college coaches, but even on Facebook, you're seeing where so-and-so high school, they got a youth camp for the local 5th, 6th, 7th graders, on campus and be coached by the local high school coaches and all that. So they've got to start their recruiting process early, when these kids are out going through the middle school right now, in order for them to go
in
to
this area. That's been common practice for
Sure.
decades now, just because of the city-county competition. Heritage William Blount have been having camps like that for 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, Rick Howard and Yogi started that, I think, over at Heritage to keep players playing at Heritage.
Yeah.
Correct.
But Marcus, I'm tossing to you for your prediction.
I'm going to go out that, and I hope I'm correct in this, Eagleton varsity football starts
Yes,
this year.
Eagleton varsity
Not
in
only
all
do
their
they get
sports.
their first varsity football win this fall,
I'd hope so.
they get their first playoff spot this fall.
Wow.
Wow.
That is bold.
That's good.
They open up against, I think, Telco Plains is their first game against.
Okay.
And so you're saying they're going to
I'm
go
saying
in the
at the end of
playoffs
the year
first?
they're going to make the playoffs this first season. I'm not saying they're going to win that game, but I'm saying they're going to qualify for a playoff spot.
Okay. Well,
I don't know anything about the pro. All I know is that they've gone
think-
through about 2 or 3 head coaches already.
Yeah, they have. I'm not disagreeing with you, Marcus. Now I haven't looked at their region super thing. I'm trying to pull it up real quick so we can look at it. But
They're in one of the lower classifications, but just the quality of athletes we have seen come out of Eagleton over the years, I can't help but think they've got enough talent over there to compete with anybody in that classification.
Cumberland Gap, Hampton, Happy Valley, South Green, West Green.
I think they can play with the Greene County
I think
teams.
you can get a 4. I think you can get a 4 or 3 there in the first year. I don't disagree with that one, Marcus. I think that's pretty good. Now, Scott West at basketball is going to have a little bit harder of a time, but they'll have to build that thing up when you go into the same district as Alcoa, Gatlinburg, Pittman, and Austin East.
Yeah.
And all 3 of those teams have D1 kids,
Yeah,
Power 5 kids.
Will
but-
Eagleton have seniors? I think.
No, they're juniors.
No,
They'll be
juniors. They'll be juniors.
So I still think that's a little stretching a little bit for them to.
Just saying, I think it's possible.
It's a bold
It's a bold
prediction
prediction.
segment, Tony.
That's right.
We're not doing
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Good
Donnie,
job,
I'm going to you next.
The Cheerios will taste better if you put milk in
I'm
them.
going to make a bold prediction, go out on a limb, and say they almost did it this year. I'm going to say William Blount boys basketball goes to the state tournament this year.
I would love that, and it would be a story that would be really, really cool to watch happen because of obviously how it ended this year was disappointing, and
It was.
even since then that ref has said they missed the call.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
true.
I hope that is true, Donnie, because I think those kids
I do too.
deserve it.
They do deserve it, and I think Caden Wendell and company travels to the state tournament this year.
Okay, Tony, you got anything?
My bold prediction is that Ray Trail will be our go-to guy on anything that deals with soccer and lacrosse.
Hey, can you become our lacrosse expert?
Yes.
I wouldn't know lacrosse from whatever.
It's just like hockey.
I
but-
don't
Just
know. I
run.
never played hockey
You got a
either.
stick?
Yeah.
The stick goes upright, not down.
Yeah,
and
I understand all that, but I've never played it, never watched it.
well, you have a year.
That's-
You have a year and 2 months to figure it out so you can become
I
a
still
lacrosse correspondent.
that's got to be the boldest prediction.
Oh,
Okay.
gosh.
Go do it, Ray.
Okay.
Ray, you got anything?
No.
No.
No. What do you
His
wanna
prediction
talk
is
about?
that prediction's completely wrong.
That's fair. I'm always open to that. All right. Well, that will do it for today's edition of the Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael at Loud Media, our host, the Bluetick Tavern, and all our sponsors for Donnie Moore, Charlie Paleo, Ray Trail, Marcus Fitzsimmons, Mike Edwards, Dylan Davis, and Rusty Chambers. Until next Saturday, this is Troy Provo-Heron, wishing everyone good sports.
Woo!
And that's the final whistle. Join us again next Saturday for the Goatee Sports Page. The best in local sports since 1978.